Hi everyone, Maria McGrath, founder of Restore Balance and Harmony. Today I am talking ancestral healing. Now wait, before I lose you, I want to explain what that means. And I'm actually probably going to do a number of videos on this so that we can really deep dive into our patterns, our conditioning, our inherited traumas and emotions. Okay, that is what I'm talking about here. Inherited. Okay, we have inherited traumas. We have emotions, we have beliefs, we have things that have been passed down through the generations, and we're not aware of it because nobody's teaching us this. No one's saying, well, you know what, your depression may have been sitting in your DNA for 3 generations, 5 generations, 10 generations. Your mother, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your grandfather had depression, and that's why you have it. Okay, and for me, I struggle with depression, and it hit me, and I thought, well, why? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling sad? Why do I feel like I don't fit in, like I'm not good enough? It just hit me out of the blue. I had a great life. I'd had a great childhood. I had people who loved me. I had great friends. School was good. There was no reason. And for a lot of people, it's really hard to understand why we feel the way we do, why this has come, all of a sudden. For some people, it may be triggered by some particular event at some stage in our life. Excuse me. For others, it has been sitting there and has been part of our life since the moment we were born. Okay, so I believe it's really, really important for us to understand that our emotions, our feelings, our fears, our sadnesses, our beliefs we have collected a certain amount of these throughout our life as well, but they have been passed down in our DNA. Okay, and this is what we call epigenetics. Okay, now I want to talk about epigenetics. It is science, it is fact. There have been scientists studying this for 50 years. Okay, this is not new, even though for a lot of people, we're saying, it's relatively new because it's only been it's not even in mainstream, but it's been, on the internet. You can Google epigenetics, now and find hundreds and thousands of YouTube clips of articles, of blogs, of all sorts of scientific information is available for you now, although most of mainstream still has not heard of epigenetics. And I think one of the main reasons why this is because if we start telling people that they can heal their epigenetic, their inherited ancestral traumas, then what the hell are we going to need medications for? What the hell are we going to need psychologists and doctors for? If we can heal those things in a holistic way, then there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to be making a lot of money. Well, they will still make more money than what they probably should. But anyway, that's another story. So, it isn't this science, this unbelievable, amazing information is not being given to the people who need it the most, because, you think about, if you're feeling, and for a lot of us, we struggle with emotions. Okay, we're emotional beings, and if you think that we've inherited our mothers and our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers and our grandfathers, how much is sitting there? How much have we got sitting in our body, affecting how we live our life? And I'm going to go into so many different things, and I hope I'm going to stay sort of on a path and get to different bits. But, we have all of this past inherited emotion, and it is sitting on our DNA, and it is why, we have so much illness. I believe, and who am I to believe anything? I believe right now, cancer is at its, every second person has cancer. There are so many people who have autoimmune diseases. There are so many people who are struggling, really struggling with depression, with anxiety, with PTSD, and it is causing physical illness. Now, I just attended a Ancestral Healing Summit, which is where I've made, pages and pages and pages of notes. But this is, there was one specific sentence that absolutely hit me right in the heart here, because it's so close to home for me. And that is, if the soul is ignored long enough, the body rebels. A mass in the throat rises to the surface, and a cavity in the lung riddled with TB starts to bleed. The body announces its existence. Okay, so for the most part, we are running our mind, and our body is working subconsciously. Okay, we can get up and we can throw our arms around, and we do so much. We don't need to think about taking our steps. We don't need to think about taking breaths. We don't need to think about our heart beating. We don't need to consciously run our body. So our body gets forgotten, and we live pretty much in our head. So the body's way of saying, hey, look, you've got some unresolved stuff here. You've got emotion. You've got trauma. There's stuff in here that is affecting the body. The way that the body announces that is to create illness inside of us. Now, this particular phrase resonated so much with me. It hit me so hard because someone in my family, someone so very, 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 very close to me, all of a sudden, after having witnessed the illness and passing of a close family member, she would not talk about it. She would not talk about or show her emotion. She had a great big lump come up in her throat, cancer in the thyroid. And then, when they went and they started treating that, like she had to, struggle with the doctors to get that treated. Oh no, it's nothing. It's just, a thyroid issue. It wasn't. It was cancer. And only because, we kept pushing the doctors that she got the test to find that it was cancer. But when she had a treatment, it was then diagnosed that there was a lump in her lung. And that is exactly what that saying just said. If the soul is ignored long enough, the body rebels. A mass in the throat rises to the surface, and a cavity in the lung riddled with whatever, cancer, TB. It says TB here, but that was this, it starts to bleed. The body announces its existence. It's telling you that you have stuff, unresolved trauma, emotion. There is stuff that is sitting in our DNA that is not resolved. It needs to be dealt with. Otherwise, the body is giving us all of these clues. It's throwing illness after illness, a bit of a throat complaint or a sore elbow, or, you a little bit of a lump, and then a bigger lump, and then a bigger lump. And if you ignore it, it keeps going until, you work on it, or, there's a different result, which is really, really bad to think about. The end result if it's not dealt with. So I want to do a series, because I've talked for 9 minutes already and I haven't even started talking about ancestral healing. I want to talk about how we've inherited these, give you an awareness, get you thinking about what is going on or what has gone on over, centuries, over generations of your ancestral line. Okay, you know, there could be I can't even think the word right now, but you know, there's a, you know, we can, some people think, you know, oh, ancestors, they're the guardians of the world, and we get into the spiritual and the mythical and all of that kind of thing. But my grandmother was she's in my ancestral line. My great grandmother, okay, I am talking about our genetic bloodline. Now, it can also have, you know, an environmental impact always also plays a part in what happens in our life, and the emotions and the trauma and the experiences that we collect. Okay, environment, and the nature nurture, but our bloodline, our ancestors, our ancestral traumas is where we have a body full of this stuff. It's been passed down through our DNA, and we're stuck with it. Okay, we don't even know, for the vast majority of people, we don't even know that we have all of this stuff attached in our DNA that is affecting us, that is causing the anxiety in 10-year-olds, that's bringing out depression and PTSD and ADHD probably, and all of these other things that we've got, you know, that we're not dealing with only in the way of creating more medications and going to see psychologists and therapists and working at a conscious level, which is not dealing with anything that's in our DNA. That is where we need to concentrate. Ancestral healing has to be done for us to be living our best life, to clear out all of the shit, all of the emotions, all of the past pain, the past trauma. It can be from your life as well, because you are storing everything that has happened to you. If you've had trauma, if you've had events happen that you have held on to, that is there in your DNA, and you're passing that to the next generation, okay? Because you're an ancestor to your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, your nieces, nephews, whatever. They are your descendants, okay? It's a flowing effect, and we have to deal with this. We have to stop this now, so that they're not, you know, however bad you may feel now with the amount of emotion, the amount of depression or sadness or anxiety or whatever, it's going to be worse in the next generation, and worse in the generation after that, and worse in the generation after that. So we need to understand it. We need to understand what that means. We need to know how we can heal our ancestral DNA, our trauma, our emotions, and clear that, and we can create a better world from today forward. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to leave it there, and I will get into a lot more stuff in the next video. I will see you on the other side. Bye.